this season?
I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really fortunate that the Department of the Air Force and the World Class Athlete Program allowed me the year to compete in college while still training for, LA 2020. That's the big goal, but, I got a lot of short goals I still want to fulfill this season.
What is the biggest difference for you this year? Obviously, it's a different environment, you have different obligations, but what's the biggest difference for you this year?
I think time is a big difference. I think I wouldn't be having the success here without the foundation built at the United States Air Force Academy. Having the foundation built of time management, it's a lot easier to manage my time here. I still got a good amount of things I'm doing. I'm finding new hobbies to keep me busy, but at the same time, I'm having plenty of time for recovery, extra time, lifting, or extra technique, whatever it has to be. I can get it all in.
Does your body feel different because you don't have some of those other obligations?
I think sometimes it's easier to get some extra sleep on the weekends. There's a trade-off with that. I was doing a lot of cool stuff at the Air Force Academy. We can jump out of planes. I was flying gliders. So, I can't do that stuff here, but the trade-off is I do get some extra recovery and get some good sleep in.
How often do you check in with your commanding officer, Tinker?
So I am actually stationed in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio?
Yes.
Okay.
So my service base is Tinker.
Right.
But I'm still attached to the Department of the Air Force, the Air Force Service Center. I just talked to him last week. Usually I'll go, whenever I'm in town, he's actually also in Colorado, so I'll go see him. At Christmas, I'm going to see my girlfriend and my family. But my time there is pretty minimal right now. Mostly they're expecting me to come here train every day, which I am. So as long as I'm doing that, they trust me that I'm doing that. They don't need to maybe look over my shoulder because they see that I want to be a Olympic champion and a national champion.
Did you send them a text or email of outstanding wrestler? There's proof there.
He sent me a nice text and said, "Hey, good job, by the way." So yeah, they're still touching in, watching the competitions.
That's
yeah.
good.
What are the new hobbies?
So I used to hunt when I was little. I'm hunting again. My roommate Cameron and me. I got my first buck in Oklahoma last week, which was a lot of fun. Doing that, going shooting a lot more. Besides shooting animals, just going to the range with a couple guys. So there's a lot of guys have a lot of different hobbies on the team, which is awesome. And so I can kind of, whatever I'm doing for the day, just send someone on the team, whatever that they're doing, if it's shooting or going to the lake or anything, I'll just be like, I can find a guy who loves to do that in his free time. So it's a good way to bond with the guys too, doing different things.
Where do you guys go hunting?
So there's a couple spots of land out of town, just some local friends we got like us. We usually maintain their property, but with that they also let us shoot a couple big deer along the way.
You talked about how you grew up an OSU fan and would watch a lot of OSU wrestling growing up. What was your, I'm curious, back then perception of the Bedlam rivalry?
So I didn't really think too much of it. I actually didn't understand what it was either. Now I see it's a pretty big deal. We've always had rivalries at every school. At Air Force we had rivalries, but I think this is something a little different. It seems to have a little more weight to it because in a state like Oklahoma, they eat, sleep, and breathe wrestling. So having, even with all sports, just athletics is a lot. There's a big competition between OU and OSU, so kind of being a part of that, it feels pretty good. I think I actually went to one of the duels, and all I knew was a big event. All I knew is that a lot of people were there, and it was a pretty intense matchup. So I'm excited to finally be in it.
Can you compare the exhilaration of shooting a buck and putting an opponent on his back?
So here's the thing: as soon as I put someone on their back, I kind of calm down because I know the match is over. But as soon as you see a buck walk out, if you've never experienced it, you're just like, it's the buck fever. My heart rate's probably higher shooting a buck. I think it might be easier to pin someone, to be honest with you, because as soon as I kind of get exposed, I'm like, okay, I breathe and I just finish the match. I know it's kind of over. But shooting a buck, until that trigger is pulled and I see him go down, I'm just sitting there, just shaking like crazy. So I'd rather pin someone than have to, shoot down a big buck. But it is fun and rewarding.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Can you describe what rivalries at the Air Force are like? I imagine it's different there than it is maybe a typical.
Yeah. So our biggest rivalry was against UNC in Northern Colorado. It was the last duel of the year every single season. So I think, and that's one thing with those big rivalries is the hostility just jumps because of we have a lot of duels here against a lot of other teams. I guarantee you, if you compare a regular duel Oklahoma State has, or at Air Force a duel versus your biggest opponent, the rivalry, it's just a lot more, hostile, like I said. So, it's never going to be like, oh yeah, there's a little bit here and there, but every single time something happens, you can just hear the crowd. It's a lot more I'd say a little more pressure in a way, but like I love pressure, so to me it doesn't really bother me. But you know, it wasn't. You know, with that, there's different fans that show up, and getting onto a military installation sometimes isn't the easiest thing to do. But I'm just excited to go to OU and wrestle with this team.
The way y'all talked about it at Air Force, like the wrestlers, was that the way we would think y'all would talk about a rivalry, or is it different because you're at a service academy?
I think it's pretty similar. I mean, we're still we've got a lot of different athletic teams there, and we still travel, do the same stuff as we do here. There it's a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a little bit more serious or less serious. It's probably pretty similar, I would say, just on a different level.
Are you excited for Coach Taylor to experience his first Bedlam duel?
Yeah, Coach Taylor. He's a unique coach. The way he responds to stuff is, he's obviously been in this sport for a long time. He's got a lot of expertise in it, and it's if you go up to a shooting event and you're a really good shooter and you try to critique the best shooter, it's in this instance, Coach Taylor is like you can't really talk against him. He's shown his mastery in the sport. It's hard to talk bad on someone or up someone who's already been there, done that. It's rare to have a coach like that in modern era. John Smith was that previous coach. He Olympic gold medalist. He had a lot of criteria, but now Coach Taylor's that John Smith reincarnated nowadays. So it's kind of hard to be against someone who's done so much for the sport of wrestling and the United States of America.
How is your personality different than your daily personality was at AFA? Because that's an intense all the time.
Yeah.
Are you a little looser now?
I think I'm a little bit, absolutely. A lot of, they kind of do that on purpose, though. They want to shape us to be war fighters, give us that war fighter mentality. And with that, you can't have a bunch of free time to do whatever you want. You need to, everything we do is focused, and it's dedicated time to building our craft as an Air Force officer. So here, I think, like I said, I built that foundation, so now I have the opportunity to relax. If I did that out of the gate, probably wouldn't be as, the best wrestler, wouldn't be the person I am today. So definitely having that foundation, it's a lot easier to be able to relax, but still be able to turn that switch on whenever I need to.
What's it like being a part of this team and seeing the early success you guys have had?
It's exciting. I mean, it's still early season. It's not even Christmas yet, and it's obviously shown on the mat that we're working our butts off. We're listening to the coaches. We're going. We're competing. We're getting that feedback, and we're ultimately using it to become better wrestlers. I think we still got a lot of time to be great. We're not even close to peaking yet.
What's it like for you watching the other guys go earlier?
It's really exciting. My favorite person to wrestler is definitely Dean Hamidi, DJ. Whenever he's out there, it's effortless. He finds a way to just jump and grab ankles, and it's just exciting. I'm just sitting there with a smile on my face watching them all, throw people down, take people down, tech them, and just ultimately out there having a good time, because that's what it's all about, Wrestling's fun, and that's why we wrestle, because we enjoy it. Winning's also fun too, but just seeing the guys out there having a good time, enjoy themselves, that's what it's all about.